So I came to Calvary as an intern. I was in the first class of X-150 interns here. I met my wife here at Calvary, like the first week that I was here. She had grown up at Calvary in student ministry. She was also working in ministry here at Calvary. We fell in love. The rest is just history. And then I got offered a position in the college ministry and started working with apprentices and interns and things like that. And in the pipeline, really when I started here at Calvary, I said, okay, God, if you're calling me to church plant, lead me to the area. Had a mentor in pipeline who stayed with me for several years, who helped me discern and pray through that calling. And the pipeline and the college ministry both equipped us with a team to go and plant a church in downtown Tampa. We planted down there thinking, is anybody gonna come? Is anybody here moving to this area looking for a church? And we really found it to be true. I remember someone praying for our church one time, and they said, God, bring a lot of your sheep into the fold who live in this Channelside area. And we've just been able to see a lot of people who live in this area who have been looking for a church. And really, it's been so encouraging to see people go, man, I've been praying for a church to be planted down here and then to come and be a part of our church. And it's been so cool to see, even we started with a lot of leaders from Calvary, but it's been shifting where more people on Sunday mornings are walking to church who live right in the community, rather than maybe even driving in. When you think about church planting or life in general at a church, what you really want to see is life change and people whose lives have been changed by the gospel at the church. And sometimes that's hard to measure and hard to see, but I think one of the metrics we have would be baptisms. And so we've been able to see a few baptisms already at our church, which is so cool. Really, the first two baptisms we got to witness were Sergey and Jasmine, this young couple in their 20s, lived a couple minutes away. And actually, we met them early on before we had any kind of church services. We were just doing a Bible study in a coffee shop, and they started coming. Both of them really didn't have much church background since they were kids. They had not gone to church since they were dating or married or anything like that. Well, they started coming to our weekly Bible studies, and then they joined our launch team. And in that process, God just really reconciled them to himself and saved them, and they were our first baptisms at the church plant. And the cool thing is that both of them had never really served in church before, but we didn't have a singer, and Jasmine used to sing in school growing up, and so she is our lead singer, and Sergey leads our parking team. So it's so cool to think these people who were not going to church a year ago are now leading at a church plant. And then, even recently, like the last two baptisms, we got to see was a guy named Will and Dave. And Dave, it's so funny, I actually met him walking around the day after Hurricane Ian. It seemed like the Lord was doing something in his heart. He was like, I need a fresh start. And I was like, what about church being a part of that? So I invited him that next Sunday. He came to church. He turned to me and said, I haven't been in a church service since the 9th grade. And this guy's like almost 30 years old. So he starts coming to church, and then weeks later we meet, and he prays the sinner's prayer on my balcony and gets saved. He invites his friend Will, who's also from New Jersey, who he starts coming to our Bible studies. In our Bible study, he shared with me he'd never really opened up the Bible for himself before. So Will and Dave, we got to see them be baptized a couple weeks ago and really just celebrate this visible evidence of what's happened on the inside of them through our church plant there in downtown Tampa. I've been a part of some other church planting networks and made some other friends. And when I tell them what Calvary has done to support us, like they are blown away. Not just financially, there is a big financial investment. We really would not be financially viable if it was not for Calvary Church, but also our leaders. They brought me on stage when we launched out and said, hey, who wants to go? And most of our core team are leaders from Calvary who came with us to help plant this church. So thank you for sending people. Thank you for sending resources. Thank you for giving to X-150, because it's really none of this that we are doing would be possible if it was not for Calvary Church. So thank you.